Hi everyone, you're welcome to our regular podcast brought to you by the KNUST E-LEARNING CENTRE in collaboration with the KNUST Counseling Centre. Today we are talking about beyond the walls of KNUST. What that means is that we want to see how students right after their university are launched into the world of work and how the knowledge, skills and abilities they've acquired over the years in the university are applied in the world of work. To do that with me today, I have two amazing women. Honestly, I don't think I am fit to introduce them, so I'll let them do it themselves. On my right hand, I have Miss Selina Angmo. Kindly introduce yourself to us.
Thank you very much, Isanam. So my name is Selina Angbo, rightly said. I'm an HR consultant. I design interventions for companies along the various HR work streams. In addition to that, I'm a Model UN expert. So I train students for Model United Nations. I'm currently the director of the KNUST Career Services Center.
That's amazing. We're in good hands today. We have experts. So on my left, we have...
My name is Ekwe Friyade.
Okay.
I'm a clinical psychologist with the Counseling Center.
Okay.
I'm the head of training, internship, and outreach at the Counseling Center.
Okay. And I am Esinam Sesudis, and I'll be your host for today. So like I said, today we are going to... This podcast is specifically for fourth years, but I believe that any other student watching this who is in third, second, first year, fifth year can also benefit from this as well. So it cuts across everyone. It's a conversation that I believe is going to help you build yourself up whilst you prepare to leave the university. So starting with Mrs. Angmo, I'd want to know, what is work?
Okay, so work really is applying either your mental ability or your physical strength on something. It's usually, it could be for remuneration, but it could also be for gratification. So just applying your mental ability or your physical strength on something, not necessarily for remuneration, but in some cases for remuneration. But when we look at it from the corporate, perspectives, sometimes when people say work, they mean a job, meaning, doing something requiring a set of skills for remuneration. So in the world of work, or in industry, when people say work, sometimes they mean to say a job, which is using skills, your abilities to achieve something for remuneration.
Okay. I like the definition. Madam Ifri, I would want you to add, what's, in your opinion, you think is work?
I think she said almost everything, but I'll add that using not only your ability, but your personality as well. You know, when you are at work, it's not just your how do you call it, your abilities and skills, but there are things behind the scenes that you can do, that would draw, people to you and also earn you something. I think that for in our context, I think we are looking at more of earning, the one that gives you something. I mean, if you are sticking to what our young people are looking out for now. So I think it's kind of broad. But whatever you do, your skills, your talents, and whatever you endowed with, your personality and other things, bringing it on board, such that you earn something. And let's say we mean legitimately earning something. Yes. So
we really need to clarify that.
Legitimately earning we are not talking about maybe going to kill some, being hired as
an assassin.
That's what we are talking about.
All right, that's it's amazing you're saying that. So you mentioned skills, you mentioned talent, and I believe we've all been endowed with something that we can, give off to a certain organization or even to ourselves. Let's assume that people who want to start their own thing. What are the skills that students should be looking at acquiring, apart from the fact that let's say I'm reading business administration, I'm going to get a degree in marketing. Apart from getting the degree, what are the right skills that I won't skew it? General skills that, because you are in charge of coaching and everything, I would want to know the general skills you believe every student should have before they even step out of the walls of KNUST.
That's fine. I will speak about the top 10 skills that employers are looking for now, and how it will look like maybe in the next 3 years, in the next 4 or 5 years. But before that, I want to talk about general skills, generic skills that employers are looking for. So we have technical skills, which are specific to your field or your field. So, for instance, if you are a doctor or if you're a surgeon, you need to be able to cut a human body up. If you are a barber, you need to be able to shape somebody's hair. So those are technical skills. But there are certain generic skills that employers look out for. And sincerely, in my experience as a human resources person recruiting for companies, I believe that employers look out for. They can be categorized in 3. Okay. The first one, we call them basic academic skills. And at this level, everybody, at the tertiary level, everybody has basic, because they are called basic. It means during your elementary education, you acquire them. So these are skills in numerics, skills in reading and writing. Okay. Of course, there are advanced levels of writing. And even in numerics, you can't say calculus is basic. It's certainly not basic. But we have the basic skills. So, for instance, if I ask you what is 2 plus 2 or 3 plus 4, very easy, yes. And you need an amount of that in your work. You need to be able to read. You need to be able to write. And at this point, students have, those basic skills. The second set of skills, we call them higher order thinking skills. Okay.
Higher order thinking
Higher
skills.
order thinking skills.
Okay.
And that go beyond the basic skills. So there are about 3 or 4 main skills that underlie high order thinking. Number 1, creative thinking.
Okay.
Number 2, problem solving.
Okay.
Number 3, decision making. And then there's a 4th one. I'll try and remember that.
That's okay.
But if you're operating at the higher order thinking skills level, you've gone beyond being able to just tell us what 1 plus 1 is.
Okay.
Or being able, at the basic level also, you are able to retain information, retain fact. So for instance, if there are certain principles, let's say osmosis, if you ask our students to define, we've learned all these things, we can replay them to you. But at the higher order thinking skills level, it's your ability to apply the basic skills that you're aware of, to create, being creative, to solve problems, to make decisions. There's a last one I'll try and remember. So at the workplace, employers are looking for workers or employees who are able to create for them, who are able to solve problems for them, for their customers. So you're working in a bank, for instance, you have a whole department that comes out with products to solve the problems of, customers.
That's true.
So employers are looking for candidates or employees who can solve problems, who can create for them, who can make decisions. So the second set of skills, we call them higher order thinking skills. And then the last one, personal qualities. So personal qualities, essentially your attitude. So how do you groom?
Can you break the groom down? Let's assume someone that's not understand.
Okay, so in the world of work, I train on, being fit for the particular occupation. Exactly. So when you enter a bank, for instance, you can see that the employees are dressed in a certain way. I mean, some banks will not even allow facial hair.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're grooming how you dress up, how you appear,
Yeah.
and are you adaptable? Can you adapt to changing
Changes.
situations?
Okay.
Are you flexible? Are you punctual?
That part.
You know,
Punctual.
are you punctual?
Yeah.
Do you have a positive attitude
Yeah.
to work? Do you love challenges? There are people who are lazy. It's not because they can't get a tax done, but just the fact that the tax is difficult and they will have to extend themselves a bit or strain themselves a bit, do a bit of research. They will do a very lazy work for you.
Yeah.
So are you a hard-working person? So all these things are personal attributes. And interestingly, when employers advertise a position, you go into the job description. Apart from the technical skills that I've mentioned, there are things that are very technical. So, for instance,
role itself.
yes. So I'm an HR practitioner. If you say you're an HR person, you should know certain things about. If I ask what are the various HR work streams, you should be able to mention them. What is a compensation management system? You should have an idea. Performance management. So those are technical skills. But the general things, the attitude, your personal qualities are part of them. And in addition to higher order thinking skills. So in the past, I used to think that the higher order thinking skills are valued above the personal attributes. But over time, I've come to realize that they are par.
Okay.
So you can be very intelligent. I mean, giving us all the good products in our institution and all that. But if you don't have if you don't have a good attitude, they'll show you the door.
Yeah.
So employers are looking for these three categories of skills, and I'll put a lot of weighting on high order thinking skills and personal qualities. Just to end, let me share with you the top 10 skills that, according to the World Economic Forum, employers are looking for now.
In 2023.
Yes.
Okay.
And how it will look like
in the next 3 years.
Yes. So I started, looking at this years back. Let me give you an idea how it looked like in 2015.
Okay.
How it was in 2020, and then how it looked like in 2025. Okay. Wow. So in 2015, the top 10 skills employers were looking for worldwide: complex problem solving. So it even tells us that
higher order thinking
skills. So it even means that even with problem solving, there are certain problems that are easy and there are others that are complex. And then there's coordinating with others, which is more the personal quality. How do you work with other people? People management, critical thinking. Exactly. This is what I missed in the higher order thinking. So it's critical,
creative thinking, problem solving, decision making, critical thinking.
Which has to do with analyzing situations or information.
Right.
Negotiation, quality control, service orientation. Let me speak briefly about service orientation. I think at this level, people don't understand service. But in the world of work, companies spend a lot of money to train, their employees on providing service. And why is that? It's because a lot of businesses, if they are not NGOs, are set up to make profit. How do they make their profit? The clients patronize their services or purchase their products, and based on that,
they come back.
They come back. So you retain your clients. Then they also refer your product to others. Exactly. So for instance, you are selling ice cream and you have just 2 clients. One is 5 cedis. Let's say you have a profit margin of 1 cedi. If you have 2 clients, it means that you're making profit of 2 cedis. But if you have about 1,000, it means that you're getting revenue and one times 1,000. So customer service in the world of work is very, very important, and companies spend a lot of money trying to get their employees to have that service orientation. Okay, so we have service orientation, we have judgment and decision making, active listening, creativity. As of 2015. 2020, it changed slightly. We still have complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management. coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, cognitive flexibility. This is how, according to the World Economic Forum, is going to look like in 2025.
Which is just 2 years away.
Exactly. Analytical thinking and innovation. Active learning and learning strategies. Complex problem solving again. Critical thinking and analysis. Creativity, originality and initiative. Leadership and social influence. Technology use. Monitoring and control. Technology design and programming. Resilience, stress tolerance and flexibility. Reasoning, problem solving and ideation. So you'd realize that these are, apart from the IT bit, which is just one, these are general skills. You know. And I must say that as students are now entering into the world of work, from my experience as a human resources practitioner, you know, we know that you have some technical knowledge, but you are yet to build a technical experience. So for instance, when I talk about compensation management and performance management, a lot of these things I learned hands-on in the world of work. And we understand that as you work in the working environment, you build the technical experience. But there are certain generic and basic things that we will not compromise on. And these are the skills.
So you've really gone in depth on. I think you've done a good job on that. I will just go straight to you. I wanted to ask a question, but she touched on it. So follow up. Attitude.
Very well.
I think it's something that is extremely important in the world of work.
Exactly.
Like she said, you could be smart, you could give the results that you want, but if you don't have personal qualities, they'll show you the door.
Exactly.
So what kind of attitudes should we start building now, or should we have built before we even start to work in the first place?
All right, okay. Thank you. And she really talked a lot, you know. And if you look at it, there's a lot of people's skills running through. And you need that. And she mentioned work ethic. One of the things we've learned is people committing themselves. Commitment. You know, and let's talk to our students. We are talking to young people. It starts right from here. In the classroom. They give you assignment, you do anything.
Attitude towards classwork.
Exactly. You know, there's something in psychology we call loafing. They give group work and you loaf around. You don't commit.
Contribute.
When you go to the workplace, it will show. Teamwork. She made all those soft skills, those generic soft skills. You know, so you need those one. Good work ethic, good people skills. How are you relating to the people at work? How are you building teams? Sometimes leadership. Sometimes when we talk about leadership, people think that it's taking political positions. In your own small corner, you can take initiatives. You can do stuff. How many of the other day I was talking with some of the national service person, and they were talking about we came for like counseling center. We came weekend sometimes, and why are they not paid? It was a conversation. How many of us are you willing to go the extra mile? These are attitudes, and you don't build them overnight.
That's true.
You don't build them overnight. You have to start from somewhere. You know, being conscientious, going the extra mile, relating well with people. You know, I think we'll go through a lot of this. But these, for me as a psychologist, you know, being creative, creativity means doing something different. That's what it means. It's the same thing that you are doing, but you can go about it in a different way. You know. So if there are so many of these skills that we will talk about, but I want our students. I'm interested in commitment. It is something we don't see in our
Well, today,
I mean, our young people, effort. That
going the extra mile.
putting in effort. It's like, oh, we do it anyhow. And no matter, it will show when you go to the workplace. The workplace can be very competitive.
Yeah.
And it's what you put in, giggle in,
Giggle out.
Exactly. Yes. So it is what you put in. If you want to do well, let's begin to build that skills right now.
On that same tangent, you know, I would want you to shed more light on how these attitudes can be built, even as we have roommates and we have classmates. Because there've been so many times where people say, okay, I don't think I like my roommates, I don't think we gel. But you know, when you go to the world of work, you are likely to meet people who have different personality from yours. So how do students, maybe it might be a little too late for final years, or maybe not so late, how do they build this kind of attitude from classmates, course mates, group mates, roommates?
That's very good. And over the years, for those who have listened to me, I've been doing this, relating to your roommates, you know, building the relationship. You start right from the beginning.
Okay.
Compromises, knowing the rules, communication.
Yeah.
And I hope we can dwell on that.
Take your time.
Being able to communicate effectively. As a people, sometimes we don't want to come out at, you know, offensive. We don't want to offend other people. So we swallow in things and then we blow up.
Yeah.
Do you get it? But effective communication means simply saying what you feel and what is going on with you without putting the other person down.
Okay.
So for you, if you are in your room, lecture hall, something, and you say, I can't stand somebody. What do you mean by I can't stand somebody? First, what is the individual doing that you are saying you can't stand?
Yeah.
You need to be able to first identify what is going on with you. Let's say that your roommate is, let's say he or she doesn't do the dishes, and you are angry about that. What do? You need to state how you feel.
Okay.
And there's a way we state how we feel. You use what you call the I statement.
So all these things we are learning will apply in the world of work as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
because in the work, you need to learn how to communicate. So we are starting right from here, then we move to work. So we are in your roommate, with your roommate, she's done something you don't like. Your boss will do something you don't like. Your colleague will do something you don't like. How do you go about it? Yeah. So I'm giving an example. So for example, you know, I feel, how does that make you feel?
Okay.
I feel sick. I feel angry. I feel, as opposed to you have, you see the difference?
Yes.
Which of these will make you more angry? If you use you, the person will feel attack, and you'll have to defend themselves. So that's where the quarrel is. So I feel this when the dishes are unleft, when the dishes are
uncleaned.
Uncleaned. Yeah. You have stated how you feel. You have not also put the person down. Okay. So when it helps to negotiate. It helps to diffuse the tension in the room. There are times you have to learn, how do you call it? You have to learn how to compromise. You can't stick to, say this is it and this is, as long as you have values, your values and your value, you are not going beyond what your values is. There are times you have to learn how to compromise. Okay. And the point is, if you learn to do this thing little by little, and trust me, I have to go to school on that. Yeah. Personal school on that. I had to learn how to communicate with people as a person. Yeah. Because if you don't do that, it will spread across wherever you go. When at the workplace, your how do you call it? Your boss, maybe your co-worker can give you something. You feel that this thing, I'm unable to do it, but you keep quiet. Yeah. Then you grumble, and sometimes you blow over. Yeah. But if you know how to say, for example, no, assertiveness.
Yeah.
If you know, for example, how to say no. You know, and learning to say no, you don't just say no. There's a way we even say that.
Yes, okay.
You
We'll
know,
get to that. It's part of the emotional resilience. So
all right.
We'll talk about creating boundaries at work and building the right environment.
So I'm just saying that we need to have a lot of people skills.
Okay.
We need to learn how to communicate among ourselves and whoever we are going to, and we need to be able to tolerate
one another.
Yes.
Okay.
So that wherever you find yourself, you can adjust. I have some, so because of that, some people have led their room and they are in one in a room. Yes. And I'm sorry to say that some of the estate managers, for example, confide in me that madam is the parent too. You say, as for me, my child, he can't live with her. Like, so when he or she leaves this place,
you'll have a hard time relating with others at the workplace.
But you have to learn how to relate with people. No. After all, he went to SHS.
You're in a boarding house. Yes.
So let's build these skills little by little. Yeah. You know, and then when we go out in the workplace, practice what?
Makes perfection.
Then we can practice them at the workplace.
Okay. Yeah. You said something before her submission that we have these skills and then we need to, for instance, the basic skills, we already acquired them when we were having our basic education. And that some of the things you know now, you had to learn hands-on or on the job. How do we build on what we already know? For instance, I know how to use Microsoft Word. I know how to use Excel. But other skills I may not have been taught in school. How do I build on the little that I know to distinguish myself in the world of work?
Okay. So let me talk about, so in everything, she mentioned commitment. Yeah. And I want to emphasize that. Sure. So you must be hungry for knowledge and for growth. Otherwise, you can't develop yourself. And there's something we call lifelong learning. Even when you have a PhD and you have whatever. Exactly.
Life itself is
exactly, it teaches you. So you must be committed to growing and developing yourself. So I would emphasize commitment. I think that if you want to develop yourself, you need to identify the areas that you're deficient in. Yeah. Okay. Let me quickly talk about the higher order thinking skills, the personal qualities, and then I can talk about any other skill. You know, I think knowledge abounds today. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and it was actually about a tax being done. And I said, today, if you say that, I don't know how to do it, so
you're not being proactive.
Then because you go onto the internet and there's information on
there's YouTube everywhere.
Exactly, and that's how I learned personally. You know, when I started working in the HR field, if you look at my CV as an HR officer, or I even started as an administrative officer. Okay. But when you look at the tasks I was performing as an administrative officer, there were tasks that HR experts were supposed to be performing, and that is it's because anytime I was giving a task, I realized that's what distinguished me among my peers. I can read as much as 3 or 4 different, articles or research work or documents just to produce one. So I was telling someone,
that's a lot of discipline.
Yes.
And a lot of commitment.
So I was telling someone yesterday that if you say that you don't know how to, that is fine. I can come and tell you. I can walk you through A, B, and C. But guess what? When you go onto the internet, there's so much information on this thing that if you commit yourself to reading and researching, you'll be able to produce something. I mean, very at a starting point, and then the corrections and the fine-tuning. But if you say that,
I think it still ties into the attitude and the way of thinking. I think most students now have gotten to a place where they are almost fed everything. So going outside to do things for themselves almost always becomes a daunting task, because if you are new on a job and you don't know how to do something, if you are not asking questions, you should be going on the internet to get
Exactly.
answers.
Exactly.
But I don't think we see a lot of that now.
That,
Sorry, continue.
exactly.
So yes.
So let me, still speaking about commitment,
Yeah.
and then maybe I can talk about some of the practical steps, you
Yeah.
know. So just like I mentioned, there's so much information. Today there's Coursera.
Yes.
There are actually master's
There's
degrees.
Udemy. There's
There are so many, you know, platforms
Yeah.
where, you know, information and learning, you know, takes
Yeah.
place. I interviewed a student last week, and he mentioned he's actually from a village.
Okay.
And he mentioned to me, you know, I'm very hardworking. And I can say I'm hardworking because the village where I come from, there's no internet.
Wow.
But when I have assignments to complete, I have to leave my village to another town where I can get access to internet.
Discipline and commitment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and I interviewed another student while here, actually one of the top 10 of the university last year.
Wow.
And I was amazed to learn that while studying, she also had a private business to support herself.
Studies, yes.
Yeah, so I think it begins with commitment and hunger, you know, to grow, and being willing to expend your time and your efforts to learn.
Okay.
In relation to higher order thinking skills, there are certain things that you can do to build those skills. I mean, we can't teach everything in the classroom. There are certain exercises that at the Career Services Center, you know, we administer to support people to build higher order thinking skills. But by yourself, things like memorization, okay, reading a lot helps with critical thinking. Because in critical thinking, it's actually analysis of information that you have stored. And I've said this quite a number of platforms. There are certain people, when you ask them a question on a particular subject, they don't have an opinion in anything. If I ask you about a certain topic and you've never read about it, there really is nothing, there's no information to analyze.
Yeah, that's true.
So the more you read, the more you store up information that that comes in handy when you are required to analyze anything. So that is number one, memorization, reading, you know, to feed your mind. Of course, it's not everything that you need to read. I mean, if you chance on a document that talks about sex, you're not at the point of your life. Unless, of course, we have mature students, okay. But information that is valuable, you know, that can transform your life positively. So reading. Number two, visualization. If you be a creative person, you need to learn to visualize. And there are exercises that can enable you to do that. This room was actually in somebody's mind before it was created. So people who are creative are people who are good at visualizing and imagination. Okay. And then there's also brainstorming. Okay. So brainstorming, usually you don't do it by yourself. It's done in a group. And the beauty of brainstorming is that you are not afraid to suggest anything, because there's nobody standing there marking to tell whether what you're saying is. So anything that comes to mind, you just volunteer that information on a particular subject, on a particular situation. And then later, the entire group can go through and say, oh, this is a good idea. I mean, this can be managed, this cannot be managed. But it's voluntary, you know, and kind of impulsive, you know, giving out of ideas to solve a particular problem. Then we have what we call concept formation, okay? So from time to time, also feeds into creativity, coming up with ideas. She talked about initiative. There are people who have worked in working environments for, you know, a very long time. I had the opportunity of working on a rationalization project. And on a rationalization project, you know, rationalization really, normally the objective is efficiency. So a company has been operating for quite some time. They look at their operating expenditure, and then they look at their goals, and then they want to they want to rationalize means that everybody must be there for a purpose. Maybe there are certain roles that we're keeping that we don't need. We want to watch our, finances. So let's look at the roles again. Let's look at the strategy, the goals, and determine, which units, which functions, and which people should stay, and which, should leave. Yeah, and I realized, there are times where people can be in a role for a very, long time.
Yeah.
And in a rationalization, you interview everybody. You try to have an understanding of the roles, the functions, what people do. You engage with the people. And and it's just that sometimes people can be in a role for a very long time doing the same mundane things, not,
over and over.
Bringing any creativity to their work, not initiating, anything. So wherever you are, from time to time, try to create something new. Maybe you have a responsibility of filing.
Yeah.
What can you introduce?
What can you do differently
to ensure?
Yeah.
And as you take the baby steps, like she said, it becomes an attitude. It becomes part of you.
Yeah.
So if you are learning to work, to live well with people in the classroom, then definitely you get to your working environment. You've been practicing it for a very long
for 4
time.
years,
So
or 6 years maybe.
Exactly. You see. So learning from time to time, bringing up new ideas. Don't be afraid. I mean, at least try and fail.
Okay.
So some of these things, can help in building the higher order thinking skills.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I want to add something to
Go ahead.
when you said that our students, these days, they give them everything.
Yeah.
And because of that, they are not...
It's kind of difficult to take initiative.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
Because students, for example, come to school and the only thing they are doing is the lecture slides.
You don't go the extra mile.
No.
Yeah.
They just only the slide. And so when you turn the question a little bit,
they'll freak out.
Exactly. How would you critically think?
Yeah.
And that is the problem I have with our young generation, our ability to reason critically and logically on their own. Do different things. If the lecturer, for example, and we are talking about building the skills.
Yeah.
Starting with the baby steps.
Yeah.
You get the topic. Go beyond what the lecturer. Read something different.
Yeah.
The lecturer will give you reference material. Read the reference materials. Google. I mean, now during our time there was nothing like that, but we went the extra mile.
Yeah.
I was telling my daughter yesterday, if you knew how much I spent in the library. I was at the library. I have all these books. I studied archaeology. I studied archaeology. I studied classical history, psychology, and information studies. And I mean, those days, what is archaeology? Who is going to give you MCQs? And you have all this. So you go to the library. You have so many books.
Yeah.
So you get these different. The lecturer has not even mentioned before.
Yeah.
And then you write with your reference, and then when you go to the exam, but this day you don't see like this, that small slides.
I mean,
you build the skills. And I want to finish this. Sure. I'm passionate about this.
It, yeah.
Our parents, charity begins what?
At home.
Let's give our children let's give them something to do. Give them a sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
Let them do things for themselves.
Yeah.
Our students have become so dependent. They become so dependent. Doing things for themselves becomes difficult. You have to do things on your own.
Yeah.
You are in school here, and she mentioned it. What are you doing? If you go outside, those outside, for example, your academic life, you are working, you are earning income from somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you get it? So, let's go the extra miles. Let's do things on our own and build that independent, skill.
Okay, thank you so much. I can see the passion.
Yes, I'm very passionate about that one.
In this, I mean, it actually bothers me sometimes
Yeah.
too, because at the office we have like 5 people doing their national service, and you can distinguish between all 5. There's one that needs to be told everything, and there's one that you tell her, oh, we are going to have a meeting at 12. At 10 a.m. you go to the boardroom. She's already set up. She's made sure there's water. She's made sure the whole place is put in order before the meeting even starts, 2 hours before. And it shows that this person has the right attitude towards work. And any employer, I mean, would want to have such a person around them. So, I mean, we've said a lot about the skills. I would want us to move into joblessness. Before the joblessness, we know definitely students have to do compulsory national service, and not everybody will be retained after national service. Before that, I would want you to tackle the kind of attitude. We've already said attitudes, but what we can do differently as national service persons that would make an employer see us and say, okay, this person is someone I would want to have on my team. And you would handle how students or national service people who are not employed can deal with not being retained and what they can do after. So, Madam Efri,
if you were the employer, what would you do?
Honestly, because I have a little bit of military background. My dad is a soldier, so I grew up in the barracks. Because I'm from the barracks, my thinking and the way I see certain things, when someone is not proactive, it bothers me. So I would want someone who is proactive, and I would want someone who asks questions. There are some people, you give them tasks and they can't do it. I mean, I still ask my boss. Sometimes, I think last week, he asked that I write a certain letter. I was so confused. I was like, boss, is this how? Explain it to me like I'm a child. I want to really understand so that I do it well. That is the kind of attitude I would want to see national service people have and be different. But I would want to know your opinion as well. It's like you've turned the question back to me.
Because every employer, every boss would like to work with somebody they can rely on.
Yeah.
Somebody, for me, independent. So when I'm at the office, I am in charge of the national service persons. And so when they come, one of the first things I let them do, what's your goal?
Yeah.
Trust me, a lot of them they don't even know.
Honestly, they don't.
By the time you leave here, what skills would you have acquired?
If not thought of it.
No. So then I give it to them. Go and think through. Right at the end, we will assess to see whether you have acquired those skills.
Okay.
Now, but for me, if I were an employer, I would like somebody who takes initiative. Do you get it? I don't want to be telling you everything. I don't like that.
Yeah. It can be annoying, you know. Yeah.
I want somebody who takes initiative. If you're a national service person, for example, and you are working with me, like you said, you start when I need something, you know. So for me, if ask my national service. I know you mark them. Ask my national service person. Initiatives, when they bring the form and I'm filling. I like that.
Yeah.
I like people who are assertive.
Exactly.
I like people who are assertive. You see, and assertiveness does not mean being arrogant.
Okay.
There is a big difference.
Yeah.
You should be able to speak up. Because when I'm boxed somewhere, can I rely on you? Do you get it? Can I rely on you?
Yeah.
You know, and I've met, as for going the extra mile, I've already mentioned
touched on that. Yeah.
You know, but for me, I look out for initiatives.
Yeah.
I want you to do stuff for yourself. I want you to learn. And I keep telling my students, I will not write a letter of recommendation for you if I don't know you.
Okay.
And I tell them, when I write a letter of recommendation for you, unless what you are doing is not right, if they take letters of recommendation, you get in. Because I write personal letters of recommendation. I don't write generic ones.
Generic ones, yeah.
So if I don't know you, I don't write.
It'll be difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those are the things I look for initiatives.
Yeah.
People I can rely on. Do you go the extra mile?
Okay.
Learning. One of the first national service persons that I had didn't have much psychology background. He saw books, psychology book, read and came and asked me questions.
Wow.
And so it was the first thing I wrote about him.
Wow.
And I wrote initiative, readiness to learn.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, those are are you ready to learn? Do you take initiative? Are you willing to go the extra mile?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and things. Are you assertive?
Yeah.
Are you assertive? For me, I look out for
these things.
Exactly.
Okay. So all those watching, I hope you are taking that poll, madam.
Yes.
If we, all right. So
yes, you can add some.
Okay.
Because you asked me what I'm looking for.
What
so
you're
I'm
looking
telling
for.
you what I look
so in case someone does not meet this cut, and now has to be let go, and now they don't know what to do with their lives, what should they do? Because I've seen a lot of people rush to do their master's degree because they don't have a job. And they feel, okay, because I don't want to waste their time, let me just get a master's degree. So how do you think is the right thing to do? How do we handle this? Should we find an escape route, or we should try as much as possible to find some work to do?
Okay, so I would see it as a stressful situation.
Okay.
And there are, very good mechanisms of dealing with stress.
Yeah.
So there are two major mechanisms that I have learned about.
Okay.
Number one is emotion-focused, strategies.
Okay.
And the problem-focused strategies.
Okay.
And I would recommend that you apply both.
Okay.
So problem-focused is when you can do something about the situation. So it's a stressful situation. You don't have a job.
Yeah.
What do you do about it? So you try and problem-focused looks at the things that you can do to resolve the stressor.
Yeah.
Which is, the stressor really is the absence of the job.
Yes.
So if you get a job, it means that, the stressor is gone.
It's gone.
So what can you do to get the job? And then whilst you are at it, we're also looking at the emotion-focused, strategies, because it can be a bit depressing, So what do you do to handle the emotions while you're trying to get, the job? Further studies, I won't say it's a bad thing.
Okay.
Developing yourself is a good thing. So if you decide to do a master's and you have the opportunity and the means is there really is no reason why you should.
That because a lot of people say, well, you've when an employer is employing you and they see that, okay, you don't have any work experience, but you've done your BSc or a BA, and now you have an MSc or MPhil, it shows that you don't have anything work experience for us to trust that you can even do this work.
Yes. So coming to the problem-focused, solutions, you've touched on something. One of the things I want to talk about is volunteering.
Okay.
There are times where you have to volunteer.
This generation, they don't have free things. Nobody wants to work for free.
I actually know a gentleman who worked with the British Council. He volunteered for the British Council and ended up working,
being employed,
with them. So in an organization, there are opportunities. So for instance, let's say a Fidelity Bank or a GCB, there are opportunities.
Yeah.
Some of the opportunities don't get advertised to external people.
That's true.
So there's an intranet on which they will advertise positions.
Okay.
So first, some companies have feel from within first.
Yeah.
If there's an opportunity, you avail it to the people within the company first.
Yeah.
If you don't find anybody within the company, then you extend, you advertise externally. So in that case, there are certain opportunities that will never come to the public domain.
That's true.
But if you decide to volunteer with that organization, while you're volunteering, you will learn that, there's this opening, and
That's
there's
true.
that
That's
opening.
true.
And then you apply for it, and you would have built a network.
Yeah.
The HR manager is somebody maybe now I'm interested in this position, and then you can be considered.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things you can do, volunteering,
Okay.
for organizations. That is one. Number two, we are still talking about problem-focused, solutions.
Yeah.
You can look at your CV, there are certain things that open the door for a job opportunity. Like I say in my trainings, it's not all the time you have the opportunity of engaging with a potential employer and telling them, oh, I can do this or I can do that. Your CV is going to open that door for you, number one. And afterwards, you're going to be interviewed. So you need to pay attention to these things. How does your CV look like? Does it market you? Does it sell your capacity to get, something done? So take your time and get your CV done properly. If you don't know how, the Career Services Center is available, we can support you. And then you have to learn how to interview. I say in my trainings, unless your father is a general manager, whoever is going to hire you would want to at least have a conversation with you. And now employers are even doing more than interviews. In the past month, we've done aptitude tests for so many companies. So they are doing aptitude tests, they are doing assessments, individual presentations, group tags, group presentations. So you need to, some of these things that will allow you to sell your ability to get a work done, you need to invest time into building these things. Your CV, learning how to interview well, learn how to take aptitude tests, numerics. Companies are testing your numerics. That's what we call situational reasoning, You need to learn about all these tests because that is how you will get in. So, for instance, if you are traveling to Canada, wouldn't you want to know how to get to Canada? You want to know how to get to Canada. How do I get the visa? I mean, what do I need to put together, to get a visa? So these are some of the things that will grant you entry. So learn about them. And we are there, the Career Services Center is there to support you. Then there are sites there are job sites. There are sites where jobs are advertised. You can visit those sites. And then I can talk about, when jobs are advertised, there are requirements. You have to ask yourself, why am I not getting shortlisted? Or what if you're shortlisted and you go for the interviews and you don't pass, then maybe it's how you present yourself at the interview. So you have to look at how you interview. But if you never get selected, maybe your CV. And you see, when jobs are advertised, the requirements for the job are actually in the job description that is advertised.
That's true.
We have what we call the person specification. The knowledge, the skills, the competencies, they are all named in there. And the tasks that you're supposed to perform in the role, they are all in the advert. But now, as an HR practitioner for years, I realized people just get up and come and sit in interviews. And they put their CVs are generic. They just take one CV, you just send it the same CV for every job.
Different jobs.
But
they don't tailor it.
exactly,
They meet the job requirements.
Exactly. When I am hiring, chances are that I advertise the position and I have 200 CVs. So when I pick your CV and it doesn't cut it, there are certain things I'll look for, which they should be aligned to the requirement for the role. So you look at the requirements, you tailor your CV, you match the experiences you have to the requirement of the role, and you try and project those in the CV. Exactly. So you need to do an analysis. Why am I not getting selected? Am I not interviewing properly? Why don't I get shortlisted? Maybe it's my CV that I'm putting in. Then when you identify, you build yourself up, in those areas. The emotion-focused, strategies. When you are sad, you listen to some music, you take a walk, you come back, you talk to family members, trusted people who can encourage you and all that. But I want to emphasize resilience and persistence. It's really competitive out there.
That's true.
And when you fail the first time, you don't say, oh, I've tried twice. And I actually saw the CV, a testimony of a gentleman who got hired by the UN. I think he tried several times. And eventually when he wanted to work with the UN, applied severally and eventually got selected.
That's amazing.
So life is like that.
It's like
It doesn't it may not happen the first time. For some people, or they don't even
You try
apply.
once. That's true.
You need to
know.
build your network also.
Yes, touch on that.
You really
The
need to build.
networking, yeah.
Exactly. You need to build your network. And the Career Services Center, we are trying very hard, and we will bring a lot of programs the way of students that will bring them closer to employers.
Okay.
Like I said, last week we hosted Sunda International on campus. We've hosted Puma Energy, and we advertise positions also. So when you hear there's a career fair,
Let's sit in your rooms.
yes, you go out to meet somebody. I mean, there is an education fair that's coming up. Go out. Maybe in the course of your interaction, the person will say that, oh, you know, this person is intelligent.
Yeah.
And not all roles get advertised.
As somebody say, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows
somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
No
networking, the
roles.
power of
Yeah,
networking,
and
you know.
people have gotten jobs without going on to
Even
Jobaman
that's
or
true.
so you need to go out there and meet people. And
You
when
know,
you
some
do
people
that,
say, me, I don't like people, or me, I'm anti-soap. But you see, it's actually a disadvantage
it is.
to have that kind of mindset.
It really is.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in conversations.
Yes.
A lot can open up in
It says so many.
opportunities.
Sorry, I'm cutting you. I'm told
Yes.
even most men got jobs in bars. They go to
Yeah.
the bar with their friends. Oh, I
Yes.
have this project. You know what? Why don't you hop on? You
Exactly.
know? Yeah.
Exactly. So go out there, socialize, meet
Yeah.
people, and then, you know, listen to them. And sometimes when you're talking, you sell yourself also.
That's true.
We do elevator pitch.
Yeah.
In a minute, in 2 minutes, in seconds, actually. How long do you stay on the elevator? Like some 20 seconds. You
Yeah.
should be able to tell, oh, this is what I do. And you make a mark on an impression.
Yeah.
And that opportunity may not come immediately.
Again.
Maybe in a month or two. Oh, hello. There was a gentleman I met yesterday. We were recruiting for a company, and they requested for somebody who can do graphic design, work, national service. And there's a gentleman I met about 2 months ago. And our meeting had nothing to do with national service and with graphic design. But in the course of the conversation, he mentioned that, oh, I have a passion for, I'm studying this, but I'm passionate about this. I actually applied for this and didn't get it. But I've been doing it on the side. Look at the design. Immediately I called him yesterday. He says, oh, I'm
That's
interested.
amazing.
You get it?
That's amazing.
So you go out there, you meet people. The opportunity may not come immediately, but then when you are able to make an impression, a positive impression, the next time, oh, I recall this gentleman or this lady. I think he or she can get the work done. So it's a combination of the emotion focused and then
problem.
So
I want.
It's now.
Yes.
I want to add to the joblessness.
Please do.
You see, sometimes in our thoughts, and this is how do you call it? It's a fallacy.
Yeah.
We think that office work is the only work we have to do.
That is very true.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, we do this KBN interviews and bursary, and when they come, I ask them, so what are you doing? What else? And I've met people, some students who have done things, and they are making money out of it. The truth of the matter is that it's not. The reality is that it can be hard after school getting employed. The thing is, turn your is it your passion and your hobby into a career.
Yeah.
I've interviewed one guy whose father is a goldsmith, you know.
Yeah.
So I asked him, and you are coming for
KBN.
KBN interview. So I asked him, your father's business.
How do you help him? What do you do?
What do you do? He said he doesn't know. And I say, hey,
Imagine.
you are joking. Do you know the amount of money
They make.
you are a student? When you vacate, I say when you go home weekend, every weekend make sure that we are with your father. You are his first son.
Should learn.
He has to pass the business on to you. And as a university student, what sets you apart from your father? You are doing social media. So asking your
application of knowledge.
father's business, are you advertising them? Then he told me, madam, that is the best advice I have received.
Amazing.
Because we are sitting, people have things they can do and make money out of it.
Yeah.
I'm giving you an example. Last year's national service or last national service, one of them when she came to the counseling center, she learned, she did, and I'm saying it proudly, you know, to encourage other people. She did disability, but then she learned, she used the YouTube to learn fashion, and then she's become a designer. She's doing her own business.
That's great.
Exactly. Your mother's or your father's business that they are doing. You say, let me go back to tree. May I graduate in Minkodjum? And then you fold your arm.
Yeah.
I've been, sometimes when they come and say some things, I get offended. I get angry. Why?
Yeah,
Somebody say, so somebody came, my brother is 30 years old. She's in the house. They say, she doesn't have a job. They say, but what does your mother do? My mother sells ABC. And so, that your brother, does he help your mother?
No. It's not posh. That job is not posh enough.
No. What will set you up? You see, first degree, we say is what? It's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
It's a springboard.
Yeah.
You are getting general skills.
Yeah.
Not, unless those professional programs, medicine and other things that you have to, the apprenticeship program. Yeah. A lot of them are just generics. Yeah. And you learn these basic, whatever, and then later you make a decision. Let me, it is not only wabo type.
Yeah.
It is not only that.
That's true.
Whatever, when you are in your corner, what do you do best? Use that. Please. So I've been telling I'm giving you the secret to life. Tell me, it's the experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, do you know these market women, the money they have?
They earn a lot, you know.
Do you know the amount they make? They are richer
than people who sometimes sit in the offices.
No, not sometimes, most times.
Yes, that's true.
At least every day you get some money.
Yes.
Every day you get some. So let's not despise. Bible even says that do not despise
small beginnings.
So please, it is not. I want to disabuse your mind. It is not only the office job.
Yeah.
Let's be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Let's employ ourselves. You can employ somebody. When we are sitting there, we see a lot of young people coming round. Some of our students, they finish, they make this. I have one of the students, she makes shito. She comes, I buy.
Yeah.
So please, it is not time. Eh?
That is actually true. You know, even helping your... I'm told our time is up. So we have to do a part 2. We definitely have to do a part 2 because I couldn't even exhaust all the questions that I have. You see, it's a mindset. We feel certain kinds of jobs do not... A whole university graduate like me.
No.
My mother actually runs a chop bar. When I go home, I forget the fact that I work in KNUST. You come and then I remember before I even came to tertiary, I was doing my internship with a TV station, and then I come every day. And one day I was like, these people struggle to get lunch. So the day before we go home, for instance, today's Thursday, I'll tell them, tomorrow this is all we have on the menu. We have banku, so tell me what you want. So I take everybody's order. In the morning when I'm coming to work, because we're supposed to show up at work at 10 a.m. So when my mother is done with the cooking, I take everything, pick a taxi, and take it to work, distribute it, take my money, and give it to my mom. And you know, because it was an unpaid internship, my transportation, my feeding and everything, it was coming from my mother. And it was because of that little support that I believe I was given. That's why she was able to help me. But now, our generation is so focused on social media, how people are appearing. Okay, I sat in the same class with this person, and this person seems to be traveling out, doing the Dubai trips, the Sao Tome and the Santorinis. And how would it look if my mother is roasting plantain by the roadside and I'm sitting next to her?
Roasting the plantain, who the university student, you roast it even
your packaging can be different.
Let me use myself as an example. My example may not be the best, all right, but I was a teacher. Now as a teacher, there's something that set me apart. I realized I had time.
Okay.
You know, so, you know, B Foster bread.
Yes.
Accra, I'll go to B Foster. I'll come and sell, make extra money. At dawn, by 12 a.m., me alone.
Wow.
You are from Volta, you know Germany.
Yes.
I've heard Germany.
I've heard of
I
it.
would drive to Germany
Wow.
by myself. For fish, I'll go with the ice chest. Come and package it. Then I'll go to Rich, you know, Bank of Ghana and all.
Yeah.
And the way I package mine was different. I was a fresh, from training college, I went to university. So this is after university. Then, and I was still working. Even I was earning income.
Yeah.
I didn't sit down. Package with my fish in a different way for the bankers, for all these people, because I had time evening after work. Then I'll go to all these places. If you are thinking that it is only Thai, not there, let me, the last one student,
Packaging.
the mother sells granules at North. So discussion, so same interview, needy students as they come.
Yeah.
We say the father is, well, so I say, what about your mother? Say the mother makes granules. I say, and you are sitting here.
And Kumasi.
It's a boy. And what are you making?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let your mother come and give me one of the. Then I bought it.
Tried it.
I said it's good. So I said, okay, now you are going to start business.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Bring some. The person is in the north. When they are coming, so he packaged small ones. And then I buy my own. And he's doing it. So it's last week that he came and said, because final year, he has put a hold on it. The students are not buying it like everybody.
Yeah.
It's a business, so he's put a hold on it. Then I told her, hey, after school,
Pick it up.
make sure that he said he will stay. Then I said, make sure that look at this university. We are. It's a huge university.
Yeah.
Go and sell to your lecturers.
Yeah. We can even go into the supermarket.
Exactly.
Packaging
You know,
goes into the
that's on the
supermarket
shelf, and then
it
you
becomes
make
a
your
very big
money.
business.
That's true.
So let's change the mindset.
Yeah.
We say ketewa bi ensha.
Ensha.
Is that not what we say?
I want to get start small, thing big. I mean, we didn't
Exactly.
even exhaust all the questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's for me. Experience has taught me that it is not only the blue. When you grow up, you realize that 24 now daughter don't. They have a lot of money.
That's true.
And just to add to that, I realize, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, maybe it's the beginning that may be difficult, but it's more financially rewarding.
That's true.
than, you know, being in.
Yeah. I'm told our time is up, so we definitely will do a part 2. We didn't exhaust all our questions because we wanted to talk about even the workplace, how to build boundaries, how to relate with your bosses, how to communicate your emotion, work-life balance, all these things. We couldn't talk about them, and it's because we don't have time. So God willing, we'll bring you another episode, and before we leave, I'll take final words from my guest, starting from Mrs. Sangmo.
I wanted to say,
Go ahead.
when we're talking about joblessness,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to add a prayer.
Of course.
Whether you're a Christian or you're Muslim, I believe in the supernatural also impacting our lives. So if it becomes difficult, there's a God to turn to, and you say a prayer, and then He's able to see you through. So I needed to add that.
Thank you for adding that. It's very, very necessary. Yes.
Yes, and I would say that our young people, wherever you find yourself, start building the skills right now.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect. And whatever you have opportunities, but you are not seeing it. Your mother, your father's corner, wherever your parents are doing, get involved and make it big. Use your social media platforms to build the businesses that your parents have or you yourself you are doing. And once you do that, you are being an entrepreneur. You know, you employ somebody.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, thank you so much. Today has been we've brought you another insightful episode. I wish we could spend more time. I wanted us to even talk about circle, the kind of circle you build around you, the kind of, there are some people, the kind of friends they have, they don't push them. It's all about let's go and chill, let's go and do that. But the next episode, we will make sure we talk about that. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Esinam Susudis, and join us next time. Bye.